AI, or artificial intelligence, is here to stay. It has become a norm for everyone's everyday activities, and people are now being able to use it, transform it, and turn it into tools that you can use off of a Google Sheets. And today's guest is going to actually share his tool that he created using AI APIs to be able to create not one, but three websites on Systeme.io. Today, we will have Shawn Altman talking about his SheetWiz.ai, VibeSheet.ai, and Sheet.com, all AI tools that you can use today. And there's no limit on how many times you can use it, these micro conversations, and how he is hosting them on Systeme.io, how he is nurturing the people using it with communities, the platforms. It's a good one, y'all. If you're interested in AI, stick around because you're going to have a lot of unlocks with his material. Well, today we have the AI expert himself, Shawn Altman, who has built multiple AI tools and then using Systeme.io to present this and package it in such a beautiful way. We have three websites. Can you say the name of the websites? Because I don't want to mess them up.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me on. Shawn Altman here. Yes, we got three sites. The first one, the oldest one, is about 3 years now. It's called Sheet. So AAH sheet.com. Then we have VibeSheet.ai, which is a coding tool. And then we have just a general all purpose one called SheetWiz, WIZ.ai.
Yeah, I didn't want to butcher those, so I really appreciate you diving into those. And we will circle back to all of these AI tools and everything you've got. But can you give everyone a little Cliff Notes version of your background that has led you to creating these AI tools on Systeme.io?
Oh gosh. So I was a developer for IBM and AT&T. So I've been doing enterprise development for a while, and I moved into agency work. So worked with different agencies with clients. And over the years, I saw that, a lot of people just need basic tools. And one thing that I started seeing as AI started to come out and we were starting to try to use AI is there was the model of everyone trying to pay a lot of money per month. And so I started building all of my AI tools into Google Sheets. So you get it one time, you actually have access to all the code, you can build into it, and you can run it quite a bit every day. Google allows us to run them on a server for free. So you can run multiple Google Sheets. So we were doing, people that were buying the stuff from me were producing like, up to like, I don't know, like 1,000 to 3,000 articles a day just through the Google Sheet. And they can have multiple of those running. So all of that's been automated the last 3 years. And so that was
Wow.
my inspiration. I wanted to unlock people from having to buy, like they could just pay their AI gas directly with OpenAI, AI, whoever. They're not locked into monthly. And then also everyone kept saying, "Oh, there's no limits, except we have these fair use policies, so you can't actually produce as much as you want." So this was my way to say, I don't want to deal with your fair use policies. Our approach is unfair. Let's just do it all unfair. You can build as much as you want and go for it. So, anyways, that was the whole concept with these tools.
Okay. And you said you were a developer. And so does that mean that you can code? Is there a certain language that you write? And then speaking of languages, like how does that help you better understand AI and put it into these Excel sheets?
Yeah, it's so I can program in a lot of languages. When I went to college, when we're learning a language, we're learning concepts. So the languages don't matter as much as long as you understand theory. So I can program in a lot of different languages. I won't rattle them off. I can do quite a bit. So what happened was, when I was working at these agencies, they're kind of hectic. I was a tech lead on the floor, so we had a floor staff of 20 people. We had all of our developers were overseas in Vietnam. There were about 70 of them, and so we had 80 clients all in Magento 2 for this smaller agency. After I got done with IBM, and I just, it was really stressful trying to be the technical person on the floor day in and day out. And so I decided, well, I'm going to go work for something smaller. Like, can I just find a person that has one website that I can help full time? So I went into like a marketing role. And so while I took all of that technical ability and all that coding ability and all that talent, I went into also a marketing role, which I really understand business as well. So I helped them build a Shopify store, set up all of the ad flows from Google and Facebook, and I hired ad partners. I helped to launch them. So it was a company that was during COVID that had lost a contract with GM of all things, and they were a remanufacturing company. Really bad time to lose a big contract. So we launched a store for them, and I basically saved their company. So I got them to
Mm.
doing about 4 to 5 million a year within about 6 months to stabilize that branch. And then, you know, at the same time, AI was coming out. So I took that technical ability, I took all the marketing, and I started building and automating all of that. And so, yeah, it's hard to say like, why does that all help me? I mean, it's just, like over time, after 20 years, you just have enough
Mhm.
technical knowledge, you see enough things, you understand it, you've been around long enough, you can start building. But then being able to automate all that, that's the tricky part. You have to have a mind for systems and understanding systems. And that's, I think some of it's a gift and some of it's experience, so it's an interesting thing. Like I can sometimes see how to do things and I just do it. So,
I I feel like your mind is like the Matrix, right? Where everything's just trying to come together all at once, and you're seeing these systems, speaking of automations, and being able to map things out. And before we jumped on, we were talking about API, and then you're talking about these Excel sheets and how you're able to do, thousands of things and making it, unfair, letting people create tons of content.
right.
I am just in awe of the capability that of the tools that you have built. And so I'm trying to distill it down so we can fully understand. So now that you have the marketing experience, the coding, the programming, the systems, why your first tool? Why did you create that first AI tool using Excel sheets?
So you may not remember, or maybe you do. There was a tool. Now it's called Jasper. I don't know if you've heard of
Yeah.
Jasper. It was
Yes.
called
Yes.
Jarvis, and then before
Yes.
Jarvis, it was like content something. Like it was some generic name. They're like, we're going to call it Jarvis, but we're going to pretend we don't know about Disney. Um, and so when that came out, they had the API access to OpenAI's original API connection. Like that's how they were able to automate. And they didn't really tell anyone that. They kept it under wraps, but we all figured out what they were doing. And OpenAI really wasn't big yet. They had not launched ChatGPT. So it was a year before they launched ChatGPT. And
Mhm.
so my team and I were, like I said, we had launched and saved that company during COVID. And so I was like, okay, well, I want to keep growing their business. I'm going to look at how do I do SEO on their site, search engine optimization with Google. Like, how do I take 4 million and how do I bring it up to $5 million or 6 million? So we looked at trying to launch new products and do organic search in Google. And so we started using AI and testing, building out the sites rapidly, but also in an intelligent way where we could feed the words that needed to be in Google on our site, and then use AI to optimize that with Jasper. The problem is Jasper was terrible. You would have to take one word off of a Surfer integration, paste it in on the right, and then click, and then it would spit out a few words. That was how they originally had it, and it wouldn't just write, and it was really, really frustrating and time consuming. So what I did was I figured out that Google allows us to have code, kind of like a macro, like it's called app script. And so what I
Mhm.
did was we started automating our whole process. So every time someone cuts and pastes and does this and that and runs the AI, once ChatGPT came out and I got access to the API, I just automated the whole thing our team had been doing for a year in Jasper. And we didn't need Jasper anymore. We basically just automated our whole process. So that's kind of where it stemmed from and why
Mhm.
I started understanding how to build in Google Sheets and circumvent all of the SaaS tools out there with our own tools.
Okay. So I'm going to sit in SEO for anyone who's listening and really kind of dumb that down. So SEO, you want your search, you want someone searching for whatever it is. Let's put out flower teapots because I'm looking at one across the,
Yeah.
and you want people to buy your flower teapots. And so you want to start ranking for any word that can remotely connect with it, from short, just keywords, flower teapot, to long tail keywords, to alt keywords. And then writing SEO rich blogs or, articles that also, lift it up. So how does your tool do all of that? Plug in all those keywords for someone to build something out like that?
So what I did was, there's a lot of writing tools out there, and what they do is they'll actually go out and scan Google, and they say, okay, well, here's the top 20 pages, and out of the top 20, all of the top 20 pages all have the same exact 80 words on all of them. So we know that if all of them have those same 80 words across 20 pages, we know that the piece of content should have those similar 80 words, because you're basically understanding Google says, okay, well, if they all have those words in common, then clearly you should be able to do the same. So you have to review all the top 20 links that appear in Google. Not easy, right?
No.
So there are tools like Surfer SEO, Neuron Writer, and all these tools that do it for you automatically. And what I did was I did about 3 to 500 tests, maybe closer to 1,000 of testing their system. And I would take the keywords and I would bring it into AI, and we would start to develop our own prompts that would start to understand what are the list of words generally that all of these have in common anyways, without needing their tools. So we use AI to guess and reverse engineer how Google's putting together a word. So then once I understood those prompts, then I started with Google going step by step through a flow using AI that would just scale that out. So you would drop in your one keyword, right? Like puppy dog training. And then my
Okay.
system would just start doing that. You just click go and it will go step by step for you automatically through the Google Sheet. You literally click one button and it will just go through that whole entire process. And the cool thing is you have a bunch of associated words, right? So you got puppy dog
Mhm.
training, but you might have puppy dog training in Portland. You might have, I live in Portland, Oregon. So you might have the name of your brand. You might have, you know, puppy obedience. Like there's a whole bunch of related keywords. So you enter in your one keyword, we create then a hub of content. And then off that hub, then we come through and then we start rapidly going through all those prompts. So you get a bunch of single pieces of content. So you can launch, say, 50 articles in a day easy with that. Actually, the
Oh,
system
wow.
can do like 250 in an hour. So we can
200.
250 articles an hour. Yeah. Um, so the
Some
problem with
websites
that,
don't even have that.
yeah. So the problem is you don't want to do that with Google because they're aware of like just
Mhm.
massive spikes of content. So we have a system where you can set it on a timer every day, and every day it'll just do one or two articles for you automatically. It's connected to your WordPress site, to your Shopify store, and it just slowly drips that on there for you. And it's all from a Google Sheet, and it's free. That's the best part. You just add in your Gmail account. It'll do up to 250 maybe 500 articles a day if you wanted to. And it'll just, yeah, pretty wild.
Okay. That is, I could keep going, but I think for anyone listening, they're probably like, where do I sign up? Where is it? And so where
And
is it?
anyways,
Where is it
we have a
listed?
coding version too. We have a whole factory system where you can say, okay, here's the thing I want to build. And
Hmm.
because I learned how to do that with SEO, I said, okay, well, we should be able to do this with code. So I want to build an app that, tracks your flowers for your flower pots you were looking at, right? So maybe I
Yeah.
want an app that will look at what are the different types of flowers, and I don't know, whatever. So you got this app idea inside the Google Sheet. You drop in your idea, you hit go, and it will scale out the entire app for you, similar to Cursor or any of those other tools out there. And we will build out hundreds of files of code, and you can push that over to GitHub or your web to your desktop. Use Claude Code to clean it up, and then boom, you could have have all your projects done within like a couple days,
Okay.
and all from a Google Sheet.
Oh my goodness. All right. So which website is that one on?
That is
That sheet. That's the Vibe.
vibesheet.ai.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm looking at that. Set it and forget it, and it runs 24/7.
On its
Oh,
own.
it's
That's the thing. So it has a ticket system. So you can say, okay, I've got these 10, I got 100 ideas I want to get in this site. So it'll actually go through and self-regulate. It'll go through your tickets. And then when it's done, it'll say, okay, off of your notes, I want to keep building. So I'm going to keep adding 3 tickets every couple hours. I'm going to self-build. So it'll just keep self-building its own code base for you, like nonstop. It like you could leave it alone for a month and it'll keep building for a month.
so then you come back to, a fully SEO rich website, really pushing out your new, puppy training facility with all the SEO rich words of near me and, in,
Well,
in,
that's a
in Portland,
separate.
Oregon.
That's a
Oh, that's
set.
separate.
So you have the coding thing, which will build you tools, and then Osheet, which is all just content.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. And so I'm looking at your website and I love the purple hue on the vibe sheet. So I know that was one of the things we were going to talk about too is design.
Yeah,
So we could keep going. We might circle back to some of these tools. Let's talk
it's a
about
it's a
how,
lot to unpack. By the way, there's a lot
yeah,
here. But I think there's some really cool stuff with how I use Systeme to pull all this off
yes.
and sell it all. I mean, that's the big thing.
Yeah, and I know one of the things is like your all three of your websites look uniquely different, but yet so clean and beautiful. And so I'm like, did you use some AI? Is there some special coding here? Like, so let's talk about why you chose, Systeme.io and built it out. And, you have 3 websites hosted on it. And how is this all interconnected? I mean, spill the beans.
Yeah. So I really like Systeme mostly for price point. That's a big thing. I think it allows us to not have to spend a lot to test ideas. Like that's the big thing. If you have an idea and you're not sure if it's going to be successful or not, I think Systeme's a great affordable place to go. I think number
Mhm.
one, that's why I picked it. And also long term, I'm selling basically lifetime access to these Google Sheets. So I can bring everyone in, and then it's super cheap to keep maintaining Systeme. So from a price points perspective, like that was the big reason, the big draw. And then I learned it could do a bunch of other stuff, which I didn't know. So I really wanted to grab it for the price. But yeah, as far as like design and kind of why I used it, Systeme does have a really easy to use kind of what they call an inline editor. So if you create a page, you can drag and drop blocks and you can drag and drop sections. But the big thing is they allow you to drag a HTML block over.
Yeah.
And that HTML block, you can just use AI to design out each little section of your site and then slowly go down the page one section at a time and have AI create that little section. So I wouldn't do the whole entire page in one shot with AI. What I would do is I would plan out one section at a time. That way it's easier to use. And then there is a way to create a section like your header or your footer. Those are shared across the whole website. And they call them a master. I forget exactly what the term is, but it's saved as a master that can be reused across the top and the bottom. So that's why you want to build different parts and separately, and so that it's easier also to move around. Like if you're like, I don't really like I should have thought, I should have put this section here and move things around. So if you have them in slices, it's a lot easier to reorganize as you're looking at it.
Yeah.
So my background when I started in life, when I was like 5, I started doing art. So I've been doing art most of my life. I did art all the way until high school. I did, and I learned a lot from that. Like even in high school, how we would look at, I had an amazing art teacher. And part of the thing with doing art is you can have your face really close to something and not really see what you're doing. And so it really helps to like here in this room, I'll go and I'll walk to that back wall and I'll look on this monitor and I'll try to take a look at what I built, like step away. Because if you're got your face up to the screen, a lot of times you're not really, your brain just doesn't quite see things. It sees a lot differently if you step back. So what I recommend is actually getting away, and as you're building stuff, like try to step back, look at it, see if it still makes sense. Because as we're in this mobile world, when you're on your mobile
Yeah.
device, that's sort of the same size you see stuff. So step away when you're on your desktop, and I think you'll have much better looking tools with AI and the things you're doing. So that's just a human thing I do. But as far as like the technical stuff, AI is, I think, really great for building stuff.
Yeah, and so I'm looking again. I'm on Vibe Sheet, and if you're at the very top, it says describe what you want your AI developer team, and then you have like a scrolling, builds it, fix it, ships it, and it, like that's not inside of Systeme.io.
Systeme.
That Systeme,
Yeah.
yeah. So you used HTML to build out some of these websites, doing it section by section
Yep,
yourself.
yep. That's all AI. So what I did was I used AI. I just coached it. I said, okay, here's so what I do is I start with a really good image. So I will go to, like, say right now I'm using a lot of Google's Nano Banana. The Nano
Hmm.
Banana 2 just came out. So our other tool called SheetWiz .ai, this is where that one comes in. So what we do there is you can develop a whole storyboard, and what we've been doing is we will say, okay, give me a section or a homepage UX design of this. And you can even take screenshots of the thing you're working on and give it these images that Google's Nano Banana can replicate. But basically, the idea is that you want to start with a design image. So you want to say, okay, Google, or your prompt should be, hey, give me a section that has a title that has these colors, and I want these things on the page in these places. And then you build that image, so you have a AI generated design. And then what you do is you take that design and you give it to, say, ChatGPT or Claude, and you say, give me the code to make this section that I'm going to put on the site, and it will produce the code based upon that image. And you literally just cut and paste it into Systeme, and then you're basically building a site off of mockups, like real good looking mockups.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so that
Oh,
so all of these are designed off of that methodology of, like, creating the design images with AI, feeding them into the AI to produce the code. I now have even way more advanced things that I do now, but that's the gist of how I do the design stuff.
okay. Wow, and I think you just did an unlock for a lot of people. I know you did for me, for websites that I manage. But let's talk about the actual systems that you have working on these. Like, how do people find it? How do you get your lead generations? How do you handle, the checkout process? And then where does it lead them to? Since you're, a man of systems, can you walk us through one system in particular that you have nailed down?
Yeah, so I just test a lot of different stuff. So I will say there's two ways to approach this depending on how you want to do it. So you can run ads, like Facebook ads would be what I would recommend. Facebook is a really good place to start. So generate an ad that builds interest. That's a whole nother thing to uncork, right? Like, how do you do ads correctly? But
Yeah.
anyways, you get your ad and you want to send them either to a landing page that sells them the concept. How I've always done it is, I'm not a hard sales type market. Like, I don't send people to a funnel that tries to convince them. I just usually send them to the web page, the homepage, and
Mhm.
then I try to keep the funnels really simple. So can they go from the homepage and click to the pricing page, and then from the pricing page, do they go and check out? So it's kind of like a three-step thing. And can I take them from an ad and do that? So that is one really good way to test. When I first tested off sheet, I think we spent, like, I want to say 25K in ads, and I think we generated like 80K in revenue through
Mhm.
Systeme when we were testing. I know the environment got really weird with AI, so we did really well for a while until something happened. Um, and and so ads, I think Facebook is a really great place to start. The other way to do it um, is to have partnerships. Whether you have, now there is an affiliate system built in, but I'm talking about like marketplaces. Like, can you go to a marketplace like AppSumo, or there's other places out there that have they basically sell to their own customers. They do the payment processing, and then they give their customers a code, like a code that they come to your site and use it to bring into your system. Or with AppSumo, it's completely like automated. When you buy with them, we needed a way to have that person go to a different site, an intermediate site. They add in their email that processes their purchase further from AppSumo, and then I create the accounts with Systeme. So we use API for that, and so there's some integrations you have to work through. So it just depends on where you want to sell, how do you want to get
Mm-hmm.
your traffic, and it depends on how you want to. And then from there, you just need to figure out what do you need to build to get the people into Systeme, and then once they're in
Mm-hmm.
Systeme, there's tags, and the tags in Systeme um, can be auto assigned depending on the situation. So if you are using integration, you can go to the URL and you'll see the tag number, and you can actually bring that into AI and code all that out. So that's actually you can so once you have so there's the API documentation is available on Systeme. So all you have to do is go to the documentation. You can cut and paste it into Claude Code, and it will start building uh, the code for you on a server. I used Heroku for my integration, so I have a whole another portal that people go into to put their codes in and all that stuff. And then once they put the email, then that auto sets them up on Systeme, and then Systeme is sending them those welcome emails, and they can come on into the things I built. And
Okay.
what I built in Systeme is a training area, and then we have a place to get those Google Sheet links. And so you just go in there, you click the link, you create a copy. It's all my own private links, and you get access to all my code that way. So you get the links, you get all the training there, and everyone just flows into that training area. And so I decided to use a training area to host my code, which worked out great, because really it's just a link to a Google Sheet with all that custom code, and then they have training on how to do everything.
Wow. So it's like a course already integrated in with, the product or, that they've got through the purchase. And do you have that on a course or do you have that on like a page? Where is that inside of Systeme?
Yeah, so once you log into Systeme, it's through a course, and right now I think there's just one dedicated course to each project. But then in that course is like multiple videos. Like
Mm-hmm.
some of them have, I think, close to 40 something videos that will just teach you how to do different things. So because I go over all the features, and some people are like, "This is too much," and then others are like, "This is
Mm-hmm.
amazing." So
Okay. That was going to be my next question. Like, how much prep or knowledge do we need to have beforehand to buy a product like that to understand how the Excel sheets work? Like, if you have no developing, programming, coding knowledge or systems or API, is this really a product that you're going to be able to wrap your mind around?
yeah, all of these are for beginners. I assume people don't know anything. Like they're not technical. They need the education. My products are a lot like driving a stick shift of a car.
Yeah.
Because it's a Google Sheet, you're like, okay, I don't really understand how a Google Sheet can do everything you're saying, Shawn. So there's a little bit of like a leap of faith. The other thing is you need to learn to take an API key from OpenAI. You need to learn what that means, and they're offering essentially the fuel or the gas, right? That's your AI gas. So you got to figure out where you're going to buy your gas from. And so what you do is you grab your key. I'm selling you the car, so I've sold you the Google Sheet, which is essentially a car. You're going to get the gas. You plug in your key, turn it on, and then it's pretty easy. There's a sidebar. It looks like an app, and there's a button that says start, and there's videos that teach you how to use it. So, my whole thing was if I'm going to be able to help people, I have to be able to help people that, are not technical, and I have to approach it with beginners. And the good news is we have about 2,000 people in our group, and I would say 50% are beginners. And I've gotten a lot of feedback telling me, I have no idea what you're saying, Shawn. So through the last 3 years, all of that has been optimized to be just pretty darn easy to use. But like
Okay.
a stick shift, you do need to figure out how to find your gears, a little bit of training. But once you figure out how to do it one time, it's the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I think for anyone listening who might be interested, they're like, "Oh, okay." So someone like me who has no knowledge can definitely still figure it out.
Yeah.
And so you've mentioned the course and multiple, videos. So, where do you host your videos? How are you nurturing your community once they've made that purchase? Like, where's the community? Where's the group? How do
Yeah.
you manage that?
So the onboarding works like this. So you go to the homepage, you're like, okay, this looks interesting. Sean's nuts, but I'll trust him. I'll buy this. So then they go and look at the pricing and they're like, okay, it's not too bad. And then they, at that point, if you make the purchase, you get a welcome email and I create a welcome series inside Systeme. There's 3 emails. And the emails are generally just like, I just want to make sure you got what one is like, here's access. Like Systeme will send out an automated um, welcome email, but then I have my own 3 that I've made, and those 3 are just inviting you to join the Facebook group. So we have a Facebook group. We got about 2,000 members in there right now, and then we have mostly just some hints and tricks, like, hey, try this. Let me know if you have any problems. Things like that. If we do any reviews, I tell people, do not give me reviews. I say, do not give me reviews right now. Tell me if you have any problems first. If you do want to leave a review, you can do it here. But if you get upset or you're frustrated, you need to talk to me first so I can help you. And I think that's a subtle way to ask for a review, but then also
Hmm.
truly help people. So
Yeah.
you never want to just bluntly like, give me a review and do this, like do that, like offer something to people. And then I think it's a lot more natural that way, I think. So anyways, when people come in, they'll come into Facebook and then they'll immediately jump into that course. And the first thing that loads is a video of me showing how to click the link, how to install it. And then I point out, hey, over here is all the trainings. You can go through one at a time. And we record everything in Loom. What I
Hmm.
have learned is that in order to translate it to other languages, it's better to push everything onto YouTube. And then if
Hmm.
you're concerned about all that material getting out there for your training, you can always move it to private. But YouTube will convert it for people around the world, because we have people from everywhere in that group out of that mix. There's some are from Asia and some are from South America. So they want to see that translation so they can understand what on earth I'm talking about.
Yeah. Okay, and you're using the new feature on YouTube where it will do the auto captions in different languages for the regions people are in?
What I found is you just upload the video and it just does it for them automatically. So
Oh, okay.
yeah. So when you upload your video, YouTube will just take care of that for you. You don't need to
Yeah.
stress about trying to convert it to another language.
Oh, no, it was an option on, my YouTube channel, so that's what I was
Oh,
wondering,
okay.
and when it
Yeah,
when it rolled out.
okay. Yeah, I had no idea. For what I've seen is yeah, I've just uploaded the videos, I sent it to people asking and they're like, this is great. I'm good.
Yeah, we have over 900 videos, and so there's probably about 500 that we don't have it clicked on, and so those aren't doing that translation
Interesting.
automatically. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. All right. Well, so you're using Loom, you're, tiptoeing over into YouTube private even, and then you have your community on Facebook and, around 2,000 people. So let's sit in the really hard, complicated place of API.
Yeah.
Can you help someone like me who's like, this sounds phenomenal, but how do I connect? I say System, the American version, the Systeme.io, connect
Yeah.
System to, YouTube channels. And like, is there one of your tools, can it embed YouTube videos like into like a blog series on a podcast, where it would, like what can it do for me where I can really be hands free? How does that
Yeah.
work?
Yeah, I was gonna see public. Oh, so if you go to Systeme.io and you go down to the footer, the very bottom, I'm looking at right now, under resources, you'll find public API. And so in public API, this is going to show you what you can do. Uh, what I would do is, it even tells you what is an API. So it'll explain to you in general terms what it is. What I would recommend is if you are new and you don't really know what an API is, maybe you've heard the term. Um, that what I would do is most everyone has ChatGPT or some sort of AI chat that they can use. So I would start copying and pasting these pages into chat and just ask questions. Try to understand what this means and how you can use it, and you will be amazed. ChatGPT can help you figure out how you would use it, right? So if you don't have that experience, that's okay. The big thing is you want to have something over here on this server working with, Systeme that you have over here. And so how do you do that? We do that through API. So we do that through, um, you know, a connection essentially. So so basically, Systeme has a bunch of what we call, we'll call them points to keep it simple, but there's lots of points, right? That you can. Oh, let me actually let's do this. Think of it like a remote control. So on your TV how you have a remote control, right? You got buttons that can turn the TV off and on. You can change the channel. You've got volume buttons. That remote control, when you push a button, is sending a signal to your TV. The TV has to have code on it to understand the remote control. That's an API. So when you have your remote control and you push the button on the remote, you're telling the TV what to do through the air, right? Through a signal. That is a communication system, right? And so Systeme has a bunch of these remote controls. And so if you have your tool, you're trying to push a button to get Systeme to do something. So, hey, I want to push the button to create the user email, right? So I have my Gmail account, they're brand new. I have a form they're going to fill out. And when they fill it out, I'm going to push the button to create the user on Systeme, and that'll do it. And so you basically are learning to use the remote control to put stuff on Systeme. And if you
Wow.
go through the documentation, that's going to show you essentially how to use remote controls. Does that help?
Yeah, I think that was a great analogy, and that you also gave a runway. So, like, okay, if you're really interested in this, go to the website, use your own AI tool, and really start to dive into it. And then, if they have more questions, they could buy one of your tools and jump in your Facebook group, right?
Yeah, yeah. And the cool thing with my tools is you literally have access to all the code. There's a lot of code there. So it's literally giving you like the platform to understand all those APIs. So I have APIs to, I think over like 20 different AI companies, all in there, all the code and everything. So you can see how all that works. You can copy and paste that code into AI and have it analyze it. And
Mhm.
you'll know exactly how to build stuff like really quickly.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
so yeah, I would say what you want to build depends on what you want to do. Don't overthink it. Try to base what you're trying to do on reality. So if I know if I've got users on AppSumo, they're gonna share with me the document that I need to build. They're gonna provide that to me, and then I'm just using AI to code. And what I did was I went to Systeme's API page here. I looked up how to do it and then just started figuring it out with AI. And AI guided me through a lot of that process without having to overthink it.
Without having to overthink it. Yeah. So I'm going to
And
ask
that's
a
good news for you as a beginner. I just want to say the good news for you as a beginner is if you can use Codex or Claude Code from Anthropic and you can do what I just discussed, it's wild what you can do and not necessarily have the technical. You just have to have the staying power, right? You got to stick with it, get it done. But if you can stick with it, you'll be shocked at what you can build.
Wow. Yeah, I'm already shocked. I'm like, okay, how can I use these tools? So what is the future look like with you? Like how is using the combination of your tools and these APIs on system, like you said, testing things out. How has it changed, your life and being able to provide these tools and resources to other people?
Yeah, I think, so I wanted the reason I started building in Google Sheets really was to learn how AI can have micro conversations back and forth, right? Because, we've all been using it and we've all wrote our prompt and then it responds in weird ways. And we're like,
Yeah.
what is like, and so it takes a lot of time to tinker and figure out your prompts and have those back and forth. And it's been 3 years of that experimenting. And so the Google Sheets was a way for us to have that back and forth conversations inside of a Google Sheet and understand step by step how things work on a micro level. And
Mm-hmm.
what that's forced me to do is understand how to optimize what are now coming out as agentic systems. And so you'll have something like OpenClaw, and OpenClaw exploded this last, 2 months. I'm not sure if you've heard of it.
Haven't heard of that one.
So OpenClaw, you install it on your computer and it can literally run your entire computer. You can hook it up to Slack and you can say, hey, I want you to post this on Facebook. And then it's like, okay, I'll do it. And it just goes off and it starts posting stuff on Facebook for you. Yeah, you can say, hey, I want you to build me like a lead magnet system right there. And it will just start building it out for you. So it's a little scary because a lot of the sites out there, a lot of the SaaS are probably not, a lot of people probably are a little nervous because we can start building out all the tools we need with a system that just builds itself. So the reason I'm bringing this up is that OpenClaw, I think, did not do it right. They have a really giant remote control of like 800 buttons. That's their prompt, right? They're like, hey, AI, you can push all 800 buttons. What do you want to do? And that means that the AI tools, we have to use the most advanced, the most sophisticated systems to even understand like giant, massive prompts like that. Like, for example, when we're saying the word hello with OpenClaw, it's sending like 30,000 or 50,000 characters to the AI company as a prompt because it's sending a giant remote control. And it's done in that way so the AI has visibility. And what I learned through the Google Sheets is that you can't do that. And also I have a bunch of beginners that don't want to blow a budget. So what we do is we do micro testing across my process and we maximize it. So you're only spending maybe 30 cents for an article. You're not spending, and that's through a whole entire process where OpenClaw with one prompt, you could blow 20 cents just on one prompt. So people are blowing $50 a day is the problem. And so the gift that I have now, because I've got these Google Sheets as my background, is I know how to fix OpenClaw. And so I'm doing that now. I've completely rebuilt it from the ground up. And it's a recursive system, which means that every back and forth is probably like a fraction of a penny versus their system. And so mine will scale up and not burn through your budget essentially and still work is the big thing.
Okay. Oh, wow. Yeah.
So that's the gift is I'm building a completely AI driven operating system. So it just sits on your computer and it'll run your computer for you.
So don't need the VA, don't need the web designer, don't need the copywriter, don't need all these other apps for posting content on 6 different social media platforms.
Right. Right. The big thing is you got to build all that out. You still got to build it. But I think once you spend time coding and using the AI tools to build that out, you have literally your whole computer will run itself. One caveat to all this is since the AI has freedom to your computer, we think of it like a person. So they should have their own dedicated computer. From a security standpoint, you don't want them on your personal computer. That is a bad idea. You want to have either a server, for like 10, $20 a month, put it on there, have it running, or a lot of people are buying Mac minis because the Mac mini can stay on all the time running. A lot of people are hosting their own AI language models on the Mac mini. So it does not, the gas is just like literally it's self-running. They have like a free AI model. And so that whole thing, because they put on Telegram or WhatsApp or Discord or Slack, it's connected and they're having conversations through those apps to their computer that's running. Yeah, pretty wild.
Wow. That's wild. Okay, so I can be on my phone talking to my own AI host on the computer that's in the room next to me, running on its own physical hardware.
Right. But best part is you can do it while you're at the beach drinking a margarita, watching the waves, and you can just type to your phone and then go hang out with your kids and build sandcastles, and then still be talking to your team on your computer doing stuff. I mean, that's what's coming.
Okay.
Anthropic just released workstation or something like that. I forget what it is, but
Yeah.
they released a tool that's really similar. Um,
Mhm.
so all those like fully autonomous computer systems are coming very quickly.
Yeah. And there those are that is what's gonna take certain jobs. I just got an email today that someone was talking about if you do not get on the bandwagon, you're gonna get left behind, or learn AI and voice that so you people know, "Oh, keep this person, they know how to use it," So either learn how to use it correctly, or diversify in a sense. My mind's blown right now, Shawn, absolutely blown.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
I think the big thing is not to have everyone be scared, but I think like you said, if I could train someone to work that tool, I would just have them run it while I can go build other stuff, right? So I can still do the things I like doing. I can still be creative. I can still code and build. I can hire a VA to run that team for me. So it's like they have their own little mini team. So I feel like people should not be losing jobs. If anything, there'll be more jobs, more opportunity because they all have these systems now where we can get stuff done. Because I think you might be shocked, but there's a lot of big companies that we're not using all the tools and capabilities because we don't have enough people. So if we have automation systems that can do it, then we just need to figure that out, and that's where we're heading. So I think there's some
Yes.
really good amazing things coming. I don't think people need to be too afraid of like everyone losing jobs. I think there's some opportunity coming that's big.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. I think you definitely hit the nail on the head there that there's a lot of opportunity helping people maximize and really use what they have at their fingertips more efficiency. My husband's a lean manufacturing engineer, so it's all about, okay, use what you already have to the max efficiency.
Right.
Like if it's our schedule has no white space. There is no margin. That it is get up,
Yeah.
go, 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 go to sleep. So yeah,
Well, and
I
maybe
that's
these systems can help you in your life. If you can figure out how they can automate things in your life, like coming up with food schedules,
mhm.
like planning food, understanding what you're buying. If you take pictures of your kids' meals and you start to understand patterns, those can understand it. And you're doing that from Slack or from your phone. Like it could learn and help you out your family. So I think there's purposes for this across not just business, like your own personal life.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you just did another unlock for someone if someone's listening, they're gonna be like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy his tool, and I'm gonna make that tool for that for this demographic." So, all
And
right.
by the way, on our group, I'm getting everyone ready. We're having these calls where I'm teaching everyone what's coming. I haven't released all this yet, but everyone's getting ready to actually start, you know, to use the thing I'm building. And there's a whole
Mhm.
marketplace behind it. So just to go one step further, all of those computers that have these AI systems, they can build tools, put it on our marketplace, and sell to other agents. So we have a whole marketplace that we'll have as well. So it's an opportunity for I think everyone to make money selling tools with their own little systems, and I think there's some pretty big demand for it. So that's what's in our group as well. That's going on right now.
Okay, so if someone jumps on right now, like say all three of your websites, all your tools, so if they wanna get into those groups, they know where to go? So
Yeah, so really the only way to get in is to buy. That's why with SheetWiz I can do like a really screaming deal, and it would cost you nothing essentially to get in, and then you can see everything that's going on. And so we had talked about a code. I can send that to you to share, but we essentially would get it down to it's like 15 or 17 bucks just to grab, and it's a nice tool. SheetWiz is a really good tool. It's got a bunch of ways to create entire videos and chains of video and all sorts of cool stuff. And it's really easy to use. But the big thing is you can come into the group and you can start understanding what we're doing. And by the way, the stuff I'm building with that automated operating system or the Mac Mini that runs itself completely free. You just install it and use it, and there's ways to make money with it too.
oh, okay. Yeah, so we definitely wanna get on that while we can. And I know we're gonna have to date set this. This is, March 2026, you don't know what he's gonna have a year from now. I'm on your sheet whiz right now. So you're gonna be able to provide all the listeners here who've listened to the podcast a little coupon code that we'll drop in the description box down below. And there's all these amazing tools. I'm in awe.
Yeah,
And
what I so that tool right there, you'll go and see like Higgs Field and all those other companies are charging, who knows, like $200-300 a month. I just this tool just basically removes all them, so you can hook up your AI straight to this, and it's like basically $17, and then we're building out like all sorts of stuff for cheap because we're just paying the AI companies directly. We're not going through because I looked at the pricing; they've marked up pricing like I don't know, it's like 1,000% markup.
oh wow. Okay.
So if you
Didn't
look at
even
the
realize it.
pricing from AI companies and what they're doing and their tool, you're paying 1,000% more for your fuel.
Oh, and then you're utilizing their API and being able to give it at a fraction of a cost, but then also have almost autonomy over the tool, being able to have these micro conversations instead of, because they're putting that on it too. Anthropic, they're putting limits on it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you still have to use the API, but the thing is we escape all the limits using API and all these smaller conversations. So that's how we.
Hmm.
If you don't have a lot of money and you want to still get a lot done, and you're not wanting to spend $100 a day on these tools, and, that's how we do it. Is we have to understand how that works and do it, bite size. And SheetWiz is really nice because it allows you to test different models. We recommend Open Router. Open Router allows you access, I think, like 300 models, and you just need one account. And then we also recommend Kai.ai. And
Okay.
we bring those into SheetWiz, and you can build whatever you want with that. So anything from images to video, all sorts of stuff. And you're not having to
Wow.
pay these content companies, quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah. Wow, this is amazing. So to kind of land the plane here, all of these websites and these tools, you're hosting them or being able to create the link to them through Systeme.io, and it's absolutely just mind-boggling and amazing. So I always try to ask everyone, if you could describe Systeme.io in one word, how would you describe it?
I would say I'll do two words if you don't mind. I'll say perfect MVP.
Perfect MVP. I love it.
Yeah,
So,
so
and
it's just a way to test and get stuff done. Like I think it's good for that.
I love it. I love it. And so, well, you are definitely using all your skills, creating your own products, infrastructure systems. You're an entrepreneur. So we always like to talk about, what is the gift that entrepreneurship has given you?
Um, you know, yeah, it's an interesting thing. I think, I my whole thing goes back in with my family. They're all business people, and we just want to help people. That's the big thing. Can we help people not have anxiety and fear and all these things? Like can we push people along to get them to have a better life? And so my family goes back many generations to farmers. To my grandfather ran a networking company in Kansas City, helping to build out infrastructure for small businesses. My other grandfather developed the SBDC for Texas Tech. So we have the Small Business Development Center all throughout Texas that he founded, and my dad worked for them. So my whole family lineage on both sides is like helping people. So for me in life, I'm enriched by helping people. So if I can leave this world knowing I helped as many people as I could, that's what matters. Money can only go so far, but you really need to be able to help each other and look back on that in life. It's nice to have money, but if we're helping each other, I think entrepreneurship, you'll do much better and be more successful if you are approaching it like you're actually helping people.
Yeah. That having a heart of compassion and wanting to serve will help you on the days that it's a little hard to, like you said, sitting in the bed with vertigo and using AI to help you keep pushing through.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it
for a
can't
very
be about you. And that's hard,
so
it's hard.
I think it is. There's me and my friends. We like to say flip the script. Being able to flip the script, not make it about ourselves, and how can we show up and help people. And it's not always easy. Some days you just don't feel like it, but it's just putting one foot in front of the other, and it's okay to take a rest day. And put 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. Like make sure you take care of yourself because if you're, you know, operating from an empty cup, how are you going to help anyone? You have to have the fuel in your tank to be able to
Yeah.
drive the car too.
And that's good marketing too. I mean, if you think about it, your marketing is about solving other people's problems, not your own. So you don't want to talk about yourself. Like that's not how you do ads. You just talk about what are other people trying to solve and connect with them. And that's, I think in life, like that's just what I've learned, like just help people. And I think people will appreciate that. You don't want to do that hard marketing, buy this, buy this, buy this. It's like, here's how you can make your life better. And I'm seriously doing it to help you.
Yeah, and all your tools are doing that. I'm over here having unlock after unlock after unlock of a mom of 5 kids and running businesses online, and I'm like, "I could use that one for this, and I can use that one for this, and, oh, when is that one launching? Because I could use that one for this, this, and this." Like, literally, you are going to help change lives and also create new jobs and create new opportunities. That's what I see happening too. So I'm very thankful for this interview, and I think a lot of people are gonna be very thankful as well.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say I really hope that there's some nuggets out of this that everyone can get and do something magical for themselves. I think there's a lot here that we unpacked, and hopefully this reaches some people and they do something with the system. I think it really is a solid place for people. So, anyways, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, I appreciate it too that you were able to get on and we will make it through, almost an hour interview here. And I'm appreciative of your time and what you're doing to help people. So, one last time, can you list your 3 websites and how they can connect with you and which one has the coupon code that we'll have linked down below?
Yeah, so the coupon code will be it's a best deal. It won't be much. I think you'll end up paying like 17, $18, but it's SheetWiz, WIZ .ai. The other one is VibeSheet.ai. And then we also have our OG, the oldest one. That's the ahsheet.com. So that's AAH sheet.com. And yeah, that was just more of a joke, but it's stuck. A lot of people like it.
Really appreciate it. And I can't wait to see, what comes from this interview and maybe have you on back in, a year or two to see how AI has really changed the game for Systeme.io and anyone else who's using your tools to create more websites on Systeme.io. Well, thank you for your time, Shawn. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. To everyone else, thank you for being here. And until next time, keep creating.